Good afternoon, YouTube. How is everybody? Whew, child, the hair these days, I don't know. I don't know what's up with my hair. It was so cute when I left the house this morning and it caught some wind. And for anybody who's not black, this is how black hair works. This hair, when it's straightened, is down to my back. But when it gets dry, it just shrinks. Look at that. That is super crazy shrinkage. Please don't judge. I just, you learn to live with it. For anybody who has like half black kids or anything, then you know what I'm talking about. You're probably like, what the hell is this hair? So this is what this is. So let me go ahead and jump straight into it. Before I came on live, I have these cards that I normally pull. Well, I don't normally pull. This is something that I just started doing. And I feel like sometimes it's like quotes. And I feel like sometimes it can kind of set the tone for whatever the message is going to be that I have coming up. Obviously, I know what I want to talk about. But at the same time, these cards, sometimes I just pull them and I just kind of see like what it comes up with. And sometimes the message is relevant, sometimes it's not. So yesterday I got a message that was like about forgiveness is about understanding or whatever, and that was clearly not what the live was about. So today is gonna be part 2 to the last video that I did. And the video that I did before, I believe, was called why you want to counteract or counterattack to escape cult-like groups. Should be obvious, but people do not counterattack. People just kind of sit there and put up with a whole bunch of stuff. So 3 cards came out, and I think all 3 are relevant, so I'm going to read them. The first says, hidden secrets, 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And this is a quote by Buddha. The second one is always joyful. Write it on your heart that every day is the best day of the year. And this is Ralph Waldo Emerson. That's a quote by this person. And then the last one is power and healing. You get what you love. To get what you love, you first have to be patient with what you have. And this is like an unknown quote. I think all 3 are relevant. They came out. So let's first, where do I want to start here with what I want to talk about today? So I've been talking about for the longest time, there's this live I wanted to make called 100 Bombs to Drop as you're going through this process being gang stalked. By the way, anybody in the live, I'd really appreciate if you like the live. It helps us. It helps the algorithm on the video. So last live I talked about kind of like why you want to counteract, why you want to counterattack. Because what happens is, while a lot of people are going through this, they're very scared, they're very nervous, and they're still scared of these groups. These groups obviously have a very bullying mentality. And so they bully people and people don't push back. People get very nervous. The way it works is a lot of times they don't tell you anything. They want you to kind of figure it out on your own. It's kind of like every time you do something they don't like, they smack your hand. And so now you're at a point where anytime you do something, someone either sends a whole bunch of spell work, or they gang stalk you harder, or they do different things to you and they take aggressive action. And then what do? You recoil. So every time you take 1 step forward, you end up taking 2 or 3 backwards and find yourself landing in the same position over and over. You got to do the opposite. When you do something that you know is for your best interests, and somebody smacks your hand, or there's some sort of negative repercussion for doing something that you know you should be doing it more. So the first thing I want to mention before I start is spiritual warfare. I want to have a little discussion with you guys about spiritual warfare. Anytime you have spiritual gifts, you are going to have spiritual warfare. You cannot play nice with people. You cannot be love and light with spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare is not the kind of thing where people can use propaganda or, oh my God, you're not being nice to me. Oh my God, you're not a nice person, to get out of it. So what they do, because you can't prove spell work. Well, maybe some people can, I don't know. So what they do is they do stuff to you in private. And then when you get upset or when something happens to them, they say that you're doing things to them. You gotta get over reputation. You gotta get over mass appeal. You gotta get over what people are thinking about you. When you have spiritual gifts, or you're being initiated, or you're ascending, or you're coming online, what I mean by coming online is you're no longer feeling like a regular person. You're noticing things around you. You're noticing the world around you is different in a spiritual way. Because a lot of times, like, there are people who either grew up in a family, or there is something that has occurred in their life where they go looking for spirituality, right? They may just think it's cool. They may have stumbled upon it, whatever the case is. And then there are other people who never asked for it, who never believed in it, who never cared for it. And you go through a spiritual awakening or a spiritual initiation that you never asked for, you have no idea about, you're just going through it. I happen to fall into the latter. It's like the universe just decided, we're picking you out of a lineup. You come online, you have things happening in your world around you, and it's like you wake up in the middle of attacks, spiritual attacks. And you learn pretty quickly, especially with myself. I'm in the middle of smear campaigns and all that stuff all the time. I could care less what they're saying about me. It doesn't matter. It comes to a point where it doesn't matter what people are saying as long as people learn how to deal with you. Now, there are times where particular people know for a fact they're not going to make it out of a situation, so they don't care. They're just going to continue doing things because the writing's on the wall. They're not making it out. It's like a lost cause. So these kind of situations, you kind of realize like the battle's already won and you don't really bother with it. It's like it's done. It's been done a while back, spiritually. But the people who are witnessing the fall of these kind of people playing with you, they're going to think twice, because nobody really wants to go through that, including the person taking that fall. Nobody wants to go through that. You get to this point after being attacked over and over and over and over again. And this is one message that I really have to like impart on people who are going through spiritual warfare is, usually, if I have to say this to you, you didn't ask to be in this situation, you just are. And you're in this situation to learn how to deal with it. You're not, everything that happens in your life, your spirit team allows it to happen. If it's not supposed to happen, it doesn't happen. Nothing is by accident. It's not coincidence. I've proved it over and over and over again. When you're supposed to be shielded from an experience, you don't have the experience at all. It's just like whatever happens, it's just avoided over and over and over. No matter how hard people try, you just stop going through it, or you don't go through. It doesn't even start. So When you are in an experience, you have to try to ask yourself, like, what is this trying to teach me? Now, sometimes you don't know what it's trying to teach you. Sometimes spirit will tell you, spirit will guide you through. I think an initiation, I want to say sometimes it's guided. I've also heard of people having their spiritual ascensions and there's no guidance. They go seeking guidance everywhere. And it's almost like whoever their spirit team is telling others not to help them. So I've heard different stories before, but for me, what it really boils down to is you can't don't bother praying for it to stop. Or maybe you're gonna pray, I can't tell anybody what to pray. You're gonna pray what you're gonna pray. Help is not gonna come for spiritual attacks. Like when you're being initiated. The reality is that there's some people who come online and they get gifts and they don't know how to deal with spiritual attacks. And it shows. So as soon as they come online, it's like they're still weak in the spirit. They're cowards in the spirit. And I say this lovingly. They're cowards. So you're getting a gift and people are taking advantage of the gift. So say, for example, you have a gift of channeling where you are hearing voices or spirits are speaking through you or whatever the case is, and you don't know how to discern between the spirit that you're working with or the energies that you're okay with and outside energies. You don't know how to discern, and somebody has a particular gift. They come through and you're giving out fraudulent messages. It's counterproductive. You're just like now an open vessel, an open vehicle for anything to come around and ride you because you have not properly been initiated. Look at yourself like this. If you're being gang stalked right now, you're not Bill Gates. You're not all of these, like, you don't have a lot of money. I'm now saying this every video. You don't have, respectfully, and that goes for all of us, like, you don't have a lot to offer as far as materially. You got to ask yourself, why are they so persistent in bothering me? Why is this so serious for them to do? What are they getting out of this? It's obviously there's something of value there, whether you know it or not. If there is something of value that needs to be protected, even if it's future value, even if it's not something that you have right now, even it could be your gift, it could be a talent, it could be a future that somebody wants to take away from you, it could be somebody wants to take your place, whatever it is. If you do not have the skill set to protect yourself, I always say it takes two hands to clap. If you don't pray and you don't ask, things don't happen. So you have to know, okay, I gotta pray. Yes, spirit can help you, but you gotta ask. It's like, yes, you can get a loan approved, but you gotta apply. You gotta get the application. You gotta get the documents. You gotta put it in by the deadline. You gotta show up to the bank. You gotta sign the paperwork. It needs two. Just because you're supposed to get a loan doesn't mean that you're going to get the loan if you don't act. So if you don't go and do all of these steps, it's not going to happen. Now, what is somebody wanting to stop you going to do? They're going to stop you from getting the application, stop you from filling it out on time, cause car accidents so you don't get to the bank. Every time you try to get to the bank to go sign the paperwork, you can't, and get you to miss the deadline. It works the same way. That is what the spell work is about. People know that there must be some sort of deadline, or there's something that you need to do, or there's something that you're doing that is going to be beneficial to you. And every time you start on that, that's when they start on you. This is the reason it is very important to gauge what is essential to do. When you get spell work, it is because you're doing something correct. When you're not getting spell work, it's because you're playing into their hand. You must do the things that you are getting spell work not to do. Even if you don't know what they are, the spell work is the indication. That's it. If you're getting a lot of feedback from your environment that is negative when you do a particular thing, so say for example, every time you try to build your business or cultivate something, your project, whatever, you're getting all these negative comments and feedback, that means that that is the thing that you need to continue doing. When you're doing a mediocre job or it looks nonsense, maybe they'll still come and they'll still have things to say, but they're feeling better about that. You know, when you're at home, lazy, don't want to do anything, not getting anything done, scrolling social media, that's not when you're going to get the attacks. You're going to get the attacks when you're actually putting in work. You're going to get the attacks when you're praying, when you're meditating, when you're doing anything that is good for, your growth and your higher good. If you did something and you got particularly attacked doing it, you must continue to do that thing. That is the thing you must do habitually, and you must withstand and alchemize and overcome the spell work. You have to literally get to the point, like there's tools that you could use to help with spell work. So there's obviously the sage, the crystals, like all the stuff that I talk about. You gotta get to the point where at some point it's like you don't even really need that stuff. And I say that lightly. Like you don't need it. Like you have to get to a point with certain attacks where it just is what it is. Like you're just gonna ride the waves of it and get over and just get over it. Now, the first time something new happens, you're encountering the first time, the likelihood of it working is high. After you've gone through so many attacks, as new attacks come, you have a higher probability of realizing like, oh, this is an attack, this is not normal. But in the beginning, a lot of things are gonna work. And they're gonna keep doing it because it works. And then it's gonna click for you like, oh, okay, this is a spiritual attack. Let me go ahead and take care of this. Let me go ahead and make sure that this doesn't work. When people do not have control over you, they don't have access to you, especially in these high control groups, what they're going to do is they're going to try to come at you in any way that they can. If they cannot energetically come into your space, they're going to project, emotions and feelings at you that are not yours. They're going to do all kinds of things to bother you. And the more it doesn't work, is the more obsessed and deranged they're gonna get, the crazier the attacks are gonna get. But that doesn't mean that you stop. That doesn't mean that you push it away. That doesn't mean that you stop striving for what you need. Let me tell you something. The same way, if you have to go to work, if you have to do something positive for yourself, you get spiritually attacked over that. What are you gonna do? You're gonna stop going to work to not get spiritually attacked? That's not possible. You got to go to work. You got to take care of yourself. So you're going to continue doing that. And that goes for everything in your life. When it comes to the spiritual side of this, I want to say you got to get to the point where that's like one of the easiest parts of it for you. You got to get to the point where being spiritually attacked is the easiest thing because you could clean that off like this. Spiritual attacks don't even take long to clean, like some of them. Heavy work, yeah, you're going to take time and focus to clean that. But the first time you get heavy work and all of it worked was because you didn't have a discipline. You didn't have a spiritual routine. You didn't have a system in place to block that stuff from even starting. So you absorbed all of that. I can speak in my case. I initially absorbed so much work without realizing it, that going through and having to clean that off, that took, some of it took weeks, some of it took days, some of it took months. And the whole process of gang stalking, healing from that took a while. That took months to heal, and the healing still occurs. It still happens. It's still happening. And it was a lot of things all at once, like emotions that are not mine. What else could I say? Energetic stuff. Like it was just all kinds of stuff was happening. So you have to, like, I give a lot of information on this channel. I'm not the only person that gives information. YouTube is full of resources that will help you figure out how to clean attacks. Now, I don't know, I haven't searched myself, but like people like to gatekeep a lot of information, and a lot of people, they charge for cleaning services. I don't know how that works. Personally, I prefer to do my stuff myself. There are a lot of scammers out there. I prefer to do things myself. I prefer to learn for myself. You know, and I can understand why people don't give, you know, all their secrets or everything that they know as far as like how to spiritually clean themselves. For me, I try to give as much as I can, and I feel like all the information I give is readily available information anyway, but I just feel like I'm giving it to an audience of people that are not used to having this kind of conversation. This is an audience of people to me that are just not used to hearing about like spiritual cleansing and what's going on and how you cleanse certain things. So I really try to like break that down, but you got to get to a point for yourself. It's a spiritual practice and you're learning and you need to mature in it, and you kind of don't have a choice because they're going to come at you. I was thinking about it today, and you know, it's kind of like this has been happening your whole life anyway. There's a lot of spell work that's been happening, not just in people who are spiritually chosen in some capacity, but in people's lives anyway, all around us. Not just with dark spirits, but light spirits as well. We are constantly at the whim and mercy when we are unaware of all types of spirits, good and bad. So good spirits want to have their way with us, bad spirits want to have their way with us, and people who do dark work, the same. You're just now at a point where you can recognize it. So thinking that it'll stop all of a sudden because you can recognize it is ridiculous. It's always been there and it will always be there. You're just now seeing it. So now that you're aware, and you know, hopefully you can get to the point where you can start categorizing work. Like, what is this one? What is that one? What is that one? How does that one work? How do I clean that one, etc.? Once you can get to that point, then it's easy. What used to take, you know, bother you for 2 days or 3 days or whatever is now going to be an hour. You can feel when it comes, and now you can correlate it. So what did this person do in order to get this effect? And you can see what's happening. A lot of times there are a lot of things that you don't even necessarily need to pray off of you. You can handle those things yourself. And I think a lot of the times when spirit is teaching you what is going on around you and how does it affect you and how to clean it, it's not just for your safety, but it's for your confidence, so that you are no longer afraid. You can go out there and you could know there is defensive magic and there's offensive magic. A lot of people, they know a lot about offensive magic. They don't know a lot about defensive magic. Both are equally dangerous. Some people fight and they incur karma, and some people fight back and they don't incur karma. And that's what defensive magic is. It's not incurring karma, keeping your hands clean, and having an even worse effect than the people sending you the work. So, you know, for me personally, it's only so much you're going to tell people. Like, whatever you're doing, whatever you're sending out is just playing out in your life. At some point, they either figure it or they don't. You know, somebody can send you rage all day and end up being the person that is in the worst rage. End up being in the worst rage for the day because you just choose not to accept that energy. So you have to learn how to deal with energy. You have to learn how to deal with spellworks being sent at you. People, you have to learn when things are being done to disable your motivation, your mood, your things that you're working on, whatever. And then you got to stick with it. You got to stick with that portion of it. The same way you got to stick with the gang stalking. You got to just ride that wave until you are able to just deal with it. And I talk about that all the time. I talk about celebs, and I very much believe that celebrities are gang stalked all the time. And you know, at some point you just learn to deal with it. Can you imagine working your whole life, getting your big break, and when you finally get your big break, your gang stalk, and people are sitting on the side of the roads all over the place and doing this and following you and hacking you and entering your home and robbing you and all this happens all the time. This is a shell shock for people. You just have to get to the point where you just have to learn to deal with the reality of the things that are coming in your life. You got to be strong. I feel like once you're dealing with these kind of cult-like groups, they are not doing spell work on you for the short term. This is the long haul. They are going to do this to you for years. So the sooner that you acclimatize to that and move forward from it, the better. One of the things I have here, one of the notes I have here is, you know, even for myself, at some point, I was waiting for this to end and then to go back to the life that I had before. Peaceful, private, minding my business, doing my own little thing, and that is never gonna happen. I've acclimatized to things as they are, you know, so I'm no longer sitting here thinking, oh my God, when? You know, it is what it is. The spell work's gonna come. The gang stalking in whatever capacity it can work, they're gonna try unless the universe puts her foot down and stops it completely. People in my city have very strong emotions towards me. So working in this city is gonna be difficult. It's gonna be interesting. I can't work the way other people work. People recognize me wherever I go. If I go somewhere, they slander me at that place. They're gonna, you know, talk crap about me. They're gonna make up stories. They're gonna say, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat all of a sudden. They're gonna say, there's this thing in my city now that I think they're saying I don't like Latino people. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm not gonna say I do. I'm not gonna say I don't. I don't notice these people. I don't care. There's definitely this thing about homosexuality because all the homosexuals start telling me they have a wife, even though they're very clearly gay men. And it's like, I don't care. None of my business. I think that's a weird thing with homosexuality where people like to announce it. I guess that's the pride movement, but it's like it's nobody's business. I don't tell people what I do in the bedroom, so like neither should you. And it's like none of my business either way. I don't have an issue one way or the other. I just have an issue with people trying to turn me gay because I'm not. And it's disgusting for me to think about myself in a situation that I don't feel like. As far as somebody else, that's personal. That's like me saying, well, I don't like people who like carrots because I don't like carrots. Doesn't make any sense. I don't like carrots, but other people could like carrots. It is what it is. It makes no difference to me. I could sit at a table while people have carrots on their plate, but I don't want the carrots. And we got to make a distinction between the two. It's very important to make distinctions. I don't like carrots, but I don't have a problem with people that like carrots. I don't worship Jesus, but I don't have a problem with people that worship Jesus. I don't apologize for not worshiping Jesus, and I'm not going to pretend to worship Jesus so people can accept me. Easy. Easy. If it's not easy, oh well. That is the attitude towards that, because I think it's pretty easy to understand. You know, we should all get along regardless of what we believe, because somebody definitely can't tell me what to believe. So I'm not going to tell people what to believe. I'm going to tell people what I believe, what I think to be true, because it worked for me. But I don't think there's anything wrong with homosexuality or whatever. I just didn't like John Ferrer. That's why I was a a-hole about it. If I don't like somebody, I don't like anything about them. It's like, I don't like the name John now. I don't like the name Ferreira. I don't, you know, it's like, if you don't like somebody who's persecuting you, you don't like anything about that person. Mind you, if you meet somebody else with a name that the same name that you like, you'd be like, I like you, I don't like your name. Or maybe you remind, like, you know, so like some crap like that. It's human nature, you know, and that's the most that I can say about it, right? I wanted to say that because I wanted to clear it up, because people have the pride pins on their coat and they're telling me that they have a wife at home. I don't know, maybe it could be, maybe it could not, but just in case, I don't have an issue with people who are whatever lifestyle they have. More power to you. I know that I have beliefs that are unconventional and I don't really care what anybody thinks about it, but at the same time, I wouldn't be pretending to believe something else just because somebody didn't like, or maybe I thought they didn't like what I believe in. I would still believe in it publicly if that's what, you know. So hopefully it makes sense. I do not have issues with people, their race, their whatever. I'm the opposite. I think the race thing is silly. I don't really care about it. You know, even though it's the Latinos that targeted me, right? That's where it started, but I don't necessarily think I was targeted because of my race. I think this is a money thing. I think this is a money grab. I think maybe they say racial things about me, but they don't like me, so they probably don't like anything about me. They're just gonna say things whether it's true or not to make themselves feel better and stuff like that. But I don't think people sat there and they're like, oh, but like somebody came in my comments and they're like, oh, maybe it's because you're black and you have a business. No, it's money. It's getting someone on a plane to make money. That's it. It's not tough. And they're gonna gang stalk anybody. It's just, this boils down to dollars and cents. That's all it is. Money. That's it. You could be any race, you could be whatever. In the beginning, I had this whole thing like, oh my God, how could black people do that with everything that he taught? Like, how could they talk? Money. They're getting paid. Simple. It's not even personal. They if this was gonna be open and shut, the people wouldn't remember my face, my name, my skin color. Like, nobody cares. It's really not about that. It's really not. And anybody thinking it's a race thing and making it into a race thing, I think in this day and age, very few things are a race thing in the way that you think. I just think it just boils down to like money. You'll see people who have money. I always say I feel like racism is like a poor people thing, because I swear you see people who have, they could care less. They're gonna cut a deal in whatever way. Like, when it comes down to money, all of that stuff is to the side. Like, nobody cares. It's like, what can I get for myself? It's very cut and dry. So I have never had an issue with anyone personally, any denomination, any lifestyle, any whatever. I have sold to women that would live a lifestyle that I would never let my children touch. It has nothing to do with me personally. It's like somebody's making a purchase, they're a customer, I treat them very well, and then they go. Is it for me? Absolutely not. And I'm able to say that. My lifestyle, they would look at and they'd be like, absolutely not. It would be boring. It'd be this, it'd be that, it'd be whatever. Like, but people have the right to say that without making it like a personal thing, taking it personally. I wouldn't take it personally for someone to say, and I don't think many people could live my lifestyle. It's very restrictive. It's tough. I don't think many people could be me, period. It's very tough. Very, very tough. So that's what I have to say about that. Hopefully it's clear. I know that there are people who are very committed to picking nonsense out of sense and making things an issue either way, or misconstruing words. And if you're one of those people who goes out of your way to misunderstand things, I mean, that's on you. That's your life. It's not gonna, I promise it's not gonna affect me. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. And that is one of the reasons why I like really ask God, I'm like, are you sure you want me to talk to people? Because I think throughout my life, people have just not understood that I'm not one of those people who says very often that I don't care. You just kind of read that in my energy that like, whether you like me or not, I'm not gonna be around to know. I don't want to fit in. I don't want to come around. I don't want to participate. I don't want to like be friends. or none of the above. I try to politely decline, but if I have to ghost and if I have to like whatever, I will. But I want to be nice about it initially. And if the nice way doesn't work, then what are we going to do? Like, we're not going to fight about it, right? So like, hopefully it is clear. And hopefully if there are people who have known me in the past and know what type of person I am, I'll have an issue with anyone. I just don't want people to have issues with me. Because then, I get a little, how I've been getting on here. I don't like that, but I also don't care that I've had to get like that either. It's like, I don't know if there's this feeling that I should like feel bad about losing my cool on here. I don't. I'm going through pressure. I even tell God, I'm like, you guys got to work with me. You guys got to give me a break. I could try to do this as gracefully as I can, but other times it's like I need a break because these people they're pushing it, they're going too far. And the more I ignore it, it's like the more it just like it goes out of control. So anyway, I wanted to get that off my chest. I want to talk about, before I get to the 100 bombs to drop, this is a really important video, how to go ahead and counter fight in this situation. I talked about why. I hope anybody here watched it. Why you gotta you gotta launch your own attacks, drop your own bombs. I'm gonna give some examples, but before I get into that, if you are on this spiritual journey, I want to make a distinction between energies. Who do you serve? A lot of times, people who work in the light and people who work in the dark, you're serving the same master, different aspects of it. I believe in my experiences that the truth of what is going on here is so far from the version that we have been fed, and so much has been left out. And I don't know why they want to gatekeep this information. I'm trying to think about why. So sometimes you might think like this person is evil because they're using let's use Kalima, which is a goddess that deals with death and rebirth. You may be dealing with Kalima, and to some people she's considered a demon. To some people she's considered a deity, a protector, a mother figure. Some call her a dark feminine, whatever the case is. It's how you use it. It's like the Bible. The Bible is supposed to be a holy book. People who do witchcraft use the Bible. They quote the Bible. The same Bible that they read in church. They use that for witchcraft. So it is just what aspect, what intention, etc. Now, there are people who call on deities or gods or goddesses, and these are who they pray to, and they pray to multiple of them, and some they work with a lot long term. Some people, it kind of sounds like they work with certain energies for a bit and they put it down and they work with others, and whatever the case is, right? I think that that's all good and great, but really, in your spiritual journey, working with all these energies, I don't think there's necessarily, well, it depends on what you're doing, if you're doing bad things to people, etc., right? But like, there is an energy of creation. There is the energy of life, a life force. This is the energy that even makes it possible for gods and goddesses to exist. This is life itself. I have some notes here. So it's like this energy encompasses all the different energies. So this energy, it is death, it is life, it is creation, it is karma, it is time. It's the same strain. It's the same strain. It's the same thing. It's like the different aspects of the same energy. If you worship death itself as an energy or life itself as an energy, this is not a God. This is more like, it's hard to define. It's like a process. It's like something that's inevitable. It's like it supersedes all of these other energies because this is the energy of creation itself. So you cannot be into, not that you cannot, because a lot of people are, but people are into dark arts and spell work and all of this stuff, and they refuse to acknowledge the rules, spiritual law. They refuse to understand and acknowledge that this is not something that anybody gets around. Everything will die. Everyone, it's like you gotta have a death. Everything, hopefully, not all the time, but there's life. Life is an energy. This is a part of the cycle. There is time for us that we have to submit to time. I don't know if there are people out there that think that they can control time. These are cycles. These are just life cycles. These are things that we all have to, we are all at the mercy of these energies. So you can't do the same thing for forever. You can't, like, there are going to be cycles. There's going to be time. There's going to be a time for things to stop, a time for things to transform. And this is not your call. It doesn't matter if you accept it or not. I mean, it's in your best interest to accept it, but it doesn't matter if you do or not. Things, man-made things like money, like networks, like connections, do not matter. It makes no difference. The universe is going to continue along the script that she's written out one way or the other way. It's just going to happen, whether you want it to happen or not. You kind of just have to accept that it is what it is. So how would I put this? We have an illusion of control. There's this illusion that we have that we're controlling our life. And I can tell you from the experiences that I've had, we are not controlling our life. Everything is predestined, and you're going to walk this path. How you experience it, how you tolerate it, how you get through it, you know, it's in your best interest to relax through the process, to learn, to go with the waves, and for it to just be what it is. That's the best that I can say about it, because it's going to happen one way or the other way. Expending a bunch of energy, like, look, if it's your time to get out of a cult, if it's your time to get out of gang stalking, if it's your time to get out of a way of life, it's gonna happen one way or the other way. And the experience that everybody has while it's happening, that is maybe what people can control. I don't think the universe is gonna force you to like it. I don't think the universe is gonna force you to be good with it, but it's going to happen one way or the other way. When it is time for a death and rebirth in your life, when it is fated to happen, it will happen. If you have all the money in the world and you try to use that money to stop it, you'll lose the money. Whatever it is that is blocking the process will be removed. The universe doesn't experience life in the way we experience life. So we come here and we have earthly relationships and earth mother and earth father, etc., etc. And you're supposed to do something and the earth mother is in the way. The universe will remove the earth mother. Or it already knows that this earth mother is going to be in the way and it'll just remove it. There is no like emotional like back and forth about, oh, but you know, they're going to be hurt because their earth mother is going to pass away. And it's like, what is the obstacle? That is going to be removed so you can walk the path that you're supposed to walk. Because Everything is interconnected. When you walk this path, you do this, and that happens, and then that happens because you did that, and because that person did something else. It's all related. It's like somebody invented the light bulb, and because they invented light bulbs, we could do these things, and then that thing, and that, and the evolution needs to happen. No one blocks it. So when you have situations like these out of control groups that block paths, that steal stars, that steal destinies, the universe is going to correct itself one way or the other. Whether these people go to sleep at night and think to themselves, I wonder if things are going to correct themselves. I wonder if I'm going to get away with this forever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And if the universe allows it to happen in the first place, that too must be for a reason. There must be something else that is in the works for letting it go on so long. There was a point that I came to in my journey where I was getting so much spell work, and I'm like, you know what? God is allowing this to happen to me. And I just came to a point when I was like, it is what it is. Let it be. There is no person, thing, anything that is too difficult for the universe to remove, stop, or block. Nothing. Like, easier than this. So if one puny human is being allowed to do something, you have to convince yourself that this is for your greatest good. Is that easy for you to do? Probably not. Not in the beginning. A lot of this is not easy because of the way that we're looking at it. In the beginning, listen, not the beginning, the middle, all the time, you're going to fall into these patterns of thinking like, why is this still happening? When is my relief going to come? Da, 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 da. You're going to fall into these patterns, and it's natural. You got to reel yourself back. You got to talk yourself back at it, out of it. And you have to develop a process where when things happen, it's like you go down a little checklist and you start asking yourself, is this a result of my actions? Is there something that I didn't do? Did I fall off on my routine in some way? Is this outside energy? Is this mine? And you go through and you kind of start working it out like, okay, this is not my energy, so let me figure out how to deal with that. Or this is because I forgot to do this or I didn't do that. And then you work it out and you figure it out. And this is how you grow, especially when you're being ascended by the universe. You're not being ascended in a society. You're not being ascended or initiated by, any of these Orisha groups or whatever it is. And you don't have one of their titles and whatever. Like, when it is happening with you and the environment, God, the planets, like, you have to figure it out on your own. It's by trial and error, but that way you really learn. And the information that you get, you don't have to question if it's accurate or not, because no one told you. It's just what naturally worked. And things happen, and you gotta and the universe has a way of teaching you. Luckily now we have technology, so we have also those resources there, but it has a way of just showing you like, oh, do you remember when this happened? Well, it was because of that. And I used to wonder why in the beginning, it's like, why they don't just sit you down like with school and say, okay, 1 + 1 is 2. They don't do it like that. They just put you in a situation where you learn to count by yourself. You are not even going to have the terminology that other people have. You're not going to have the words. You might not even be able to explain it, but you know, but you feel, but you sense, and you figure it out from there. So the message here, you got to go through the spell work. You got to go through the attacks, all of them. You got to keep going through them. That is how you get strong. So that the next time you find yourself in it, you become confident to be yourself, because you don't have to worry about, I'm going to speak in my case, I don't have to worry about, well, if I do something very well, then there's going to be someone who's going to be so jealous, and then they're going to throw all this spell work at me and I'm going to lose it. Now I know how to defend myself. I know how to detect it. I know what to do right away. I know how, that was the point. I'm not afraid. I really cannot be threatened with spell work, because I don't know. This level of attack is ridiculous. This is crazy. And I'm not even talking about any one period of time. I'm talking about like all together. all together, the entire 2 years that I've been going through this. So it's been nuts. Some people are initiated in like, they're taught all of this stuff. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. It's all theory work. It's sitting down and people are giving them information. Me, I had to feel it. I had to feel it myself. When I say I had to feel it, like, if I didn't figure out how to clean it, I was gonna succumb to it. They really were gonna let me, like, this is really like training with live ammunition. It's like, this is real spell work these people are using. This is not play spell work. It's not fake spell work. It's real crap. So if you fall sick from it, you fall sick from it. If something happens to you in your home and you don't take it seriously, you're going to suffer. You're going to feel all of it. It's real. It's a boot camp. And it's not even like one thing is done and another thing. It's like it's happening simultaneously. It's crazy. You're scrambling. You're like, wait, what? What is this? So I feel like you're even, now I've come to the point where I'm like, you know what? Thank God I know how to deal with it up front. If I ever were to have a platform of reading cards, I can know what to look for. I can see what's going on with people. And maybe, and I do think the universe continues adjusting itself. So maybe it's like, okay, if we do things that way, this is going to happen. So maybe we got to do it this way first. Spirit was even nervous of me going through this. You could feel their nervousness watching, because this is not easy. This is not easy. So you got to go through it. And I posted something on my community section that basically said, this is how you rank up. And when I heard that initially, like I wasn't quite sure what it meant, but now I could tell you, I could see what it means. This is how you rank up, like really fast, because it's one thing to be able to do things, to learn how to do things, but putting up with this level of attack, surviving this, getting over it, this is craziness. This is nuts. So I would respect anybody that could do this, myself personally. Just, I could feel the level of attack this was, even if nobody told me. I could feel it. This is not like one or two people. This is like groups at a time, round the clock. They take shifts. They have shifts. So that is what that is. Whatever you're going through, it really is not meant to kill you. You're meant to stick with it every single day. And you know what? When I come on here, sometimes I'm like, oh, not right now. I want to do something else. I want to get to something else. But I always remember when it was my turn and I was going through all of this, I used to literally sit there and wait, like refresh the page on certain people's page to see like when they're posting something new, because I needed it. So I know that there must be people out there that need my messages as well, even if it's just for encouragement, even if it's a gentle reminder to keep pushing and keep going. You are going through a spiritual death, a Christ walk. You are being nailed to the cross in front of your entire network of people, your community. They're destroying everything around you. They're taking everything from you. They're transforming your life. They're doing it with hate and aggression, and it is going to transform you, because if you do this correctly, if you acknowledge the energy of creation, of life, of death, of rebirth, Mother, Gaia, the universe, whatever you want to call it, if you take this energy seriously, you walk your path properly, you are going to be reborn a superhuman version of yourself. You're going to be proud of yourself. You're going to be happy that you did it. You're going to be a different person. You must stick with your ascension. If you stop here and you stop now, the consequences will be dire. You do not have even an option of trying to do that. It's going to be awful. You cannot allow the forces that be to stop you. You are John Wick in John Wick 4, and you're trying to make it to that platform to have that final gun battle, duel, whatever. And along the way, every assassin that they have in the city has been called. They're on the radio playing it in front of people in broad daylight, and they're upping the cost on your head every day. They need your head. And you need to get where you need to get there. And when you're depleted, you have no energy, you're drained, you get to the location and there's like a flight of 1,000 stairs. Even if there was nobody around, just getting up that flight of stairs after what you've been through is exhausting. And there's a timer. Now, every assassin that they have, they put on those stairs to distract you, to make you overthink, to make you wake up and say, is this worth it? Let me go back to what I was doing. You got to make it up the stairs. If you stop climbing the stairs, they will end you. Not they will leave you alone, they will end you. And what happens? It's either them or you. This is their job. Part of their job is they know what it entails, whether they tell you or not. Being a practitioner that goes out and takes people's money to do protection work or all that, they are paid to stand in the gap between you and hopefully not a spirit team that you're connected with. You understand what I'm saying? And your problem. Or sorry, you and your problem, they're in the middle of it. If your problem has a spiritual team, they know they're going to have to take that problem on. They know that once they start, they can't stop. They got to keep going. Because a spiritual team is not just coming for the person who paid the practitioner. They're coming for the practitioner as well. As a matter of fact, the point is that the practitioner is supposed to shield the person who paid. They know what it comes with. So when you meet these assassins on the stairs, they know what that comes with. They know you're John Wick. They know what John Wick is about. They know that. So they know there's a likelihood that they won't make it in that situation. You gotta make sure you live up to the legend. You have to make sure you live up to the hype. When you don't know who you are in the spirit, when you don't know what you're capable of, when you've never experienced your full strength, that's when people can take advantage of you. It's like meeting, I don't know, Mick Jagger, and he doesn't know he's Mick Jagger yet. Or he is Mick Jagger, but he doesn't know. So you're like, oh my God, Mick Jagger. He's like, me? I'm just Mick. What are you talking about? It's like, oh, well, let me take advantage of him. Mick, can you come in my YouTube video for free? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then you post him on your YouTube and you're making all this money off of him and whatever, but he doesn't know he's Mick Jagger. He doesn't know he can charge you $5 million for that one video for 30 seconds. He doesn't know that. That's how you are before you're ascended. You don't know who you are, so you don't know your value. So you bow down, you cower to these energies that are not even remotely on your level. You don't know who you are yet. You're being developed into who you are. And if your calling is higher, then you can withstand more. You have more energy. You have more endurance. You have more determination. You are more fearless. And that's why you're being put in these situations that seem crazy, because other people couldn't have handled this situation. You got to get to the point where the mindset changes. Once the mindset changes, once you realize like you're strong and you don't have to put up with stuff like this, once you realize like something might be hard, but if I put my mind to it, I can get it done. Climbing 1,000 stairs with a bunch of people on me is just going second by second saying, I'm going to make it up those stairs. It's not being at the bottom of the stairs thinking already about being at the top. It's about taking one at a time, one step at a time and going up. Who you are is at the top of the stairs. You can't be focused on that end result. How am I going to do it? You don't know. You're building it right now. Do you know the end of what you're going to build? Absolutely not. You're building it right now. You got to tweak it. You got to change it. It's the same thing. As you're being attacked, you're building yourself. You got to stick with it and keep moving. You don't stop while you're okay, so spiritually, when you pass away, when you're going through this death and rebirth process, it's almost like how they describe it is like you go through the underworld. You got to go through there first, and I guess they assess you. Can you make it into the afterlife? And based on that assessment, then you elevate, then you go up, right? It's kind of like if you're walking through the underworld, you think you want to stop there. You think that's where you want to stop and take a break. You really, like, you gotta keep walking. I'm tired, my feet hurt, I'm blistered, I'm sick of this. You could say that in your mind while you keep walking. You just gotta keep going. And to people who work very hard, to people who are very diligent, to people who have survived tough situations in life before, you just have to reach back into that energy that you already know. You didn't go to work because it was easy. You didn't go to work because you didn't feel like it, or because you had a great day or an easy time. You went to work because you had to go to work. Other people could be able to sit down and complain, but that's not you. You don't do things like that. It's the same thing. So if you're given a tough challenge, it's because spirit already sees and knows that you have that type of energy to you. You have that type of endurance. You have that type of determination where you can self-start, you can self-motivate, you can determine that you're going to keep going. For myself as a parent, these are the kind of things that I like my children experiencing. I've given my kids all kinds of experiences. I've given them the experience of seeing me go out and achieve things, and okay, we live this kind of lifestyle, we worked really hard, and now we're on this really nice vacation, or we could live in this house, or I've given them all of that. But I think it's also too valuable for them to see how I deal with adversity. How do I deal with making responsible decisions when the tides have turned, when things are not so great, where there's not as much resources? How do I stand up? How do I defend myself? How do I deal with the odds being against me? And being that determined, putting effort into things, doing things correctly, living a correct way. It's like all by example. So it's like, this is what you need, all of that in life in general. Whether it's with spiritual attacks, whether it's with gang stalking, whether it's with building a business, whether it's building a future, whatever the heck it is, you still need all of these attributes. It's the same core discipline and skill that you're just applying to different portions of your life. And let me tell you something, win or lose, what is most respectable is the fight that you put up. Winners take it to the grave, to the ground. Because win or lose, you still get a medal, a trophy, recognition, awards for never giving up. You put up a good fight. Nobody could say that you made it easy. If you're gonna lose, you gotta lose where even your enemies respect the hell out of you. That's how I see it. Even if that's what it comes down to, even your enemies have to be like, damn, this person was persevering to the bitter end. There are certain people that just don't understand that. They want to save resources. They want to save this. They want to save that. But it's like, look, if you have a problem in front of you, until that problem is eliminated, it doesn't matter what you're saving, because you're going to live on your knees. I would prefer to die on my feet than to live on my knees. Now that is just personal to me. I'm going to live on my feet. I'm not going to live on my knees in front of anybody. So it is what it is. It costs whatever it costs. It's the cost of war. And if it has to come down to it like Clash of the Titans, then that's what it really comes down to. Because in the spirit, that's what's going on. If you're on if you're in such a position where the universe, the forces of creation and life support you, are backing you, that means it is written. It is part of your path. It is in your star. It is in the journey to get to your destiny, to get this fight. This is where you grow yourself. This is where you cultivate yourself. This is where you build yourself. This is where the legend is born. This is your story. Every deity, every god has a story. Your story is important. You don't just hold positions of honor for the hell of it because you were just handed a title. You need to be able to handle that position. And how does that how does that happen? You have to prove yourself. That's where the respect comes in. The respect is not necessarily the victory, even though that's part of it. You gotta be able to prove yourself worthy. And believe me, the universe respects that heart. And I've talked about that before. It's the heart. That's why certain people get put in positions that other people are like, well, how comes that person got it? I'm this and I'm that and I'm blah blah blah, but it didn't matter. It's the heart. It's the heart. And for me, it's very important when I get in positions of adversity. I have never begged in my life. I have never pleaded with anyone for anything. Like, even as a kid, I always accept my fate. It is what it is. I'm going to build back from it. I'm going to grow from it. Something's going to happen. I just don't, it's not in me. And I don't back down, no matter like what it is. And I feel like if you ever meet people, and I know I look cute, so it's like if you ever meet people where it's like, oh, like this little kid and this kid's not backing down, you'll chuckle because you're like, this is so cute, but it's like you respect it. This kid doesn't back down. And it's like, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter. You know what? People are throwing energy at you. You can learn how to do stuff like that. If that's really what it came down to. Like, what are they doing? They're putting 2 candles, they're saying a prayer, they're whatever. What kind of effort does that take? What kind of skill does that take? We can all learn how to do that. My kids could do that stuff. Okay, so you get these 2 candles, you put the oregano, you put the salt, you put the how much effort is that? God putting you in a position to be gang stalked all by yourself, standing in fire by yourself for a long time, that takes some sort of effort. And that's the thing. People think God is stepping in all the time, and God is not. God's letting you fight that. They think, oh, God is fighting all your battles and all, like, you're taking those hits, you're taking those punches. Sometimes, and in the beginning, blunt, no shield, because you gotta feel it. You gotta feel how it feels. And I couldn't come here and talk to people. I couldn't even understand the importance of showing up every day. I couldn't even understand the importance of giving what I give until I went through the absolute hell of it. Every single day, I'm like, damn, this is how people are living in here? This is crazy. This is nuts. I'm like, if this is how they're bullying me to come in, I'm going to be a slave if I give up. There is no way that I could ever live like this. That's just what it boils down to. If you're being spiritually attacked, if you're being gang stalked, if you're pushing, if you're trying to get out of a lifestyle and you have these groups, these people doing this to you to stay, this is obviously not a healthy environment. There's going to be no growth here. This is a totalitarian system. This is a system that will control you completely. They will tell you what to eat, how to walk, how to stand. You see movies about parts of the world or parts in times in history where people were treated this way. What did we call it? We called it slavery. This is how you want to live. So worry less about when it's going to be over and worry more about how do I navigate this situation? What is in front of you is most important. What am I dealing with now? And how do I overcome this situation? You cannot avoid the self-mastery part of this journey because you are not doing black magic. Black magic does not require any work. It just requires learning steps. Do this, do that, chant a name, print a picture, get a piece of clothing, get some hair, blah, 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 blah. What you're here for requires complete mastery of this vessel you're in. Human beings walking around here who have not ascended, who have not submitted to the power of creation, who are not living life in the right way. They are vessels that are being used. There's a fight for their vessel all the time. Because of the environments that are created around them to keep them in their lower self, they cannot access the higher forces, the forces of creation that require discipline to tap into. Because of that, they are held hostage to these lower energies. A lot of people come here, they never learn the necessary lessons, they never ascend, they never reach their North Star. And because that never happens, they gotta come back, do it again. But while they're here for this lifetime, they're going to be used by these lower energies that have a stronghold over here. This life of discipline that you're living requires cleanliness in all ways. Cleanliness of thought, of intention, of heart, of action, your body, your environment, all of it. You gotta be careful what you think. And it's not to say that you put a negative thought out there and it's like, zap, I gotta pull it back. It's like you gotta be conscious of what you're thinking, not let these things run away with you, not let these things take over you. Let me reel it back. Let me readjust my thinking. Let me heal from this trigger. Let me heal from this hurt. Because carrying this heaviness with me, hating people, all of that, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Every once in a while I catch myself saying I hate someone. I'm like, no, I gotta reel it back. I gotta reel it back. I gotta reel it back. This is too heavy to carry. You gotta travel light. I have to constantly readjust my mindset, readjust what I'm thinking, readjust the energy that I'm pushing out there. But I'm being provoked in this way on purpose to pull me down, to take me away from the connections that I have. You got to think about it that way. The way you live your life, when you keep your environment clean, that is something that you have to do when you take care of your altar every day, when you take care of, your spiritual hygiene every single day, when you have these practices in place that continues to remind you of what you need to do. As soon as I started meditating, I realized why people who believe in Islam pray 5 times a day. It is a constant reminder. It keeps you constantly in the vibration of prayer, constantly in the vibration of connection. And so I was like, okay, well, if they're doing that 5 times a day, then technically if they really do it and they really mean it, I can see how that they would be constantly tapped into that energy. Even if it's a 10-minute prayer, I can see how, because things get away with you. So if you want to carry this energy of creation, if you want to remain close to God, it's like you got to constantly say, for example, my prayer may not be formal like that. Like my prayer might not be like, I'm waking up in the morning and then I'm praying again at noon and I'm praying again at 2 and 5 and what. It might not be like that, but it might be like remembering to tend to the altar and then saying a little prayer at that time. So remembering and then clearing it out or cleaning it out or doing something else and remembering again and saying a prayer again and just staying connected. So these are the things that you got to put these things in place for yourself. Like there are best practices for sure, but You have to maintain that hygiene, and you have to make it a part of your lifestyle, and then you got to walk the path. And you're doing it not just for your protection, not for your self-preservation, but for you to experience life the way life was meant to be experienced. Because the way that we were doing it before, that's like not how you're supposed to live. And the way that you were doing it before is what led to the circumstances that you were in. If you have a spiritual awakening and you tap into energy that will tell you like, no, you're going the wrong way. No, it's this way. No, you got to do this. No, you got to stick with it. And every time you deviate from the path, they grab you back. Every time you try to give up, they grab you back. They start, and then you just get to the point where you don't even need them to grab you back. You already know the answers. You already know what's right. So no one can come in and confuse you with anything. They've made everything very obvious for you. They've given you the answers over and over. This is the kind of guidance you want to go through life with. Imagine going through life tapped in like that with guidance. These people doing black magic on you do not have guidance. They think protection is just about like, well, no one can touch me spiritually. And that's not, protection is love, spiritual love. That's what it is. It's like spirit telling you you're better than that. You don't have to deal with that. Get out of there. Like, that's what it is. It's the day-to-day walk. It's allowing spirit to guide your path, to take you over there, to do that, to see that, to open your eyes to that, to train you on that, and walking, trusting the intuition, trusting the inner voice, trusting everything. And people keep wanting spiritual gifts and stuff like that. I found what is most beneficial to me has been common sense and logic and intuition, which are things that all of us have. Your conscience is guiding you. Your logic is guiding you. Like, you can't logically think that if God intends for somebody to do something and you stand in the way of it, that this is going to work out for you. That can't be logical. So trust the path. Keep walking, keep moving. You cannot skip mastering yourself. This is so hard that everybody would do it. I feel like if everybody could. People don't even want to take that journey. It's like, try beating an addiction. That's hard enough. So imagine trying to beat all your addictions. God forcing you to walk through every single one and deal with every single one. And then you have to go through every single one of your past hurts and your traumas and healing all of that. And then when you're done with all of that, going through all your triggers and your bad habits, and then forgiving people, the ones you despise the most, and then growing from experience. This is what self-mastery is. Like, you have something that you constantly do and it's blocking you. Well, you got to stop it. And you're going to continue going towards this lesson over and over, and it's going to be worse and worse each time you encounter it. So you're almost like scared now. Like, I go through my lessons out of fear. I just don't want to repeat anything. So as hard as it is now, I'm just going to do it because I refuse to repeat this lesson. Imagine coming back and repeating gang stalking. Like, being gang stalked for 2 years and coming back and repeating it. Because when you repeat it, the universe is like, the first time, if we give it to you in the same intensity that it was last time, what difference is going to make? That's the same thing you didn't learn. We got to turn it up for you now. We got to turn it up for you to get it. So you're going to repeat this cycle, but harder. Zero interest in doing that. So if that means that in order to get through this cycle now, I'm going to go through this gang stalking phase, and it's going to last 2 years, as opposed to it being done in 6 months and 3 months later they get me back. It wouldn't even, if it were done too early, it's like they'd have you back in a month. You got to learn every trick. You got to learn every tactic they have. And in the course of mastering yourself, you start realizing, like, it's the flaws that I have that they've been observing. That's how they get me. I might be childish. I might be immature. I might lie. I might be envious. I might be whatever, which we can't be judgmental because everybody is something. These might be the things that they're taking advantage of to suck me back in. So I actually have to fix these things if I don't want to be susceptible to these energies sucking me back in. We're talking about cult-like energies. We're talking about energies that study people, that try to master lower human natures, that are dealing with lower vibing energies, that are teaching them how to do these things. So you cannot skip these lessons, and it's not fun to think about, but you got to do it. I'm at the point with the messages that I give that I'm really past talking about, like, well, I'm not past it. I could probably come back every once in a while, but I'm kind of past the tactics that they use and stuff like that. And it's like, look, we got to stop talking about it and we got to look for solutions. We got to stop talking about it and we got to get to the point where we're like, it's happening. How can I grow? How can I get to the point that I've mastered it? How can I get to the point that it no longer bothers me in the way that it used to? So talking about, like, I could go on all day about, like, oh, people were following me today and they did this today and they did that today and all. I could go through all of that, but it's happening to everyone. We know what people are doing. It's really like, how do I make this situation work in my advantage, to my advantage? I am still mastering myself. I'm still going through lessons as this cycle slowly comes to a close. Slowly, like step by step, inch by inch, it's coming to a close. And as that happens, every time, it's almost like, I've said this before, it's like a video game. Every time I truly learn the lesson, not a little bit learn the lesson, like I truly get the point, I get a little bit more relief. Something else closes out for me. Some things, it's like, man, I finally get it. Like, you're not going back to your old life. It's not going to be like that. So you got to work through this and you got to work through that. And it sucks, but it is what it is. You trust the process, you trust the time. It's like, it's the same way you don't want to forgive things that, or it's the same way when you have to forgive things or you have to get over it, you realize that it takes time. It's not immediate. That's the same way. That's the same way it works. It's closing the cycle is not immediate. This is really about lessons. This is really about growth. This is about rapid transformation that is traumatic. You're losing a lot. Things are changing. This is an out of control process. This is not for the weak and it's not easy. It is so worth it. I do prefer the person that I am now. I mean, I liked the life that I had before, but I don't know the next phase of life that's coming for me. I don't know how I'll like it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be better. For sure. You just continue growing and it's going to have its own challenges, that I know. And I was thinking about this today and I'm like, you're not learning how to endure spell work for no reason. So, you know, you know, something's coming. But I think when you learn these lessons here now, you're not going to be afraid of what's coming. You're going to be like, oh, okay, I've dealt with this before. I've seen this before. I can handle this. So, but what you will know is you will know how to endure. You'll remember how to endure things that are super difficult. And maybe that's the lesson, how to just be stronger. Let me tell you, you just got to walk through it. You got to walk through the gang stalking. You got to walk through the spell work. You got to walk through people being all up in your business. Many people that we look up to have gone through this, are going through this. This is just their natural way of living. And it is what it is. And they've just come to the point where it's like, you got to take the good with the bad. So, and the last thing I'm going to say before I get off of this and get to the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to say is just make sure that the things that worked yesterday are not working today. Even if it takes a day or two or a couple weeks or whatever, you're always working on closing out that lesson. That new thing that irritates you, that is the thing that you have to learn to get over quickly. Every single time you got to get over it. That's the thing that you want to stop. So some of these things you can't avoid. Like what are you going to do about people following you? If they have the ability to do it, they're going to do it. You got to ask yourself, is it worth my time in like ducking and dodging, or do I not care and I prefer to focus on the things that I have to do? You can't control that people are slandering you out there. So you're going to get to the point you're going to be like, is it worth it to feel bad about it or to cry about it? Or is it just what comes with the territory? Once you've aligned yourself with the Most High, you have automatic enemies. And that's people who, if they don't know themselves, the energies that they carry, know that people like you are put in place to block them in some way, to stop them in some way. So you become public enemy number one, the number one target. People in my city despise me. People invested a lot of money in gang stalking me, and there's no return on that investment. And the people spearheading that project, they owe a lot of people money. They don't like me. I am like public enemy number one in this city. If my name comes up, I'm sure people blow up. They're pissed. All because I didn't want to give up my life. That's how I see it, but that's not how they see it. And they're in more of a predicament because of the kind of people that they owe that service to. It is what it is. What am I going to do about that? That has nothing to do with me. That is not a me problem. I don't like people making their problem my problem. I wasn't there. I didn't negotiate nothing. But I sure as hell am not giving up anything. I'm not giving up my life. I'm not giving up my future. I'm not giving up my business. I'm not getting on a plane. I'm not doing any of it. What are they going to do? They tried everything. They want to restart again. They want to try again. Like whatever. It's just not going to happen. We're restarting a cycle now. If the universe would allow it, which it is not, imagine restarting it with the version of me that is me now. If it had to, I can walk through it a lot better. If it had to start again, that's the point that you got to get to. If it has to happen again, I know exactly the tools in my toolkit that I've developed that I need to reach for. And I am really attacking this from the mountaintop, from a position of strength, of knowledge. I know how to protect myself and my family. I know the kind of things that make me a liability. I know the kind of things to watch for. They're not even breaking through. They're not even breaking ground. That attack's not even getting off the ground. Even faster, that money will be wasted. That's where you got to get to. You can't get to a point where you keep worrying about, walk the whole path. Walk the whole path. Face every bullet that they send you and just keep going. That's it. Because you can't necessarily change it. You don't know how long this is going to last. So it is what it is. I'm going to move to the meat and the potatoes of what I have to talk about. This is the kind of stuff I get spell work for talking about. So, do enjoy. I am going to give you ideas of counterattacks. You must sit down for yourself and strategize what your attacks are going to be, what makes sense for you, how you're going to do it. I'm going to give ideas based on things that I did, based on things I should have done, based on things that if I had to go through it again, would do. All right. The first thing is the most obvious one, police reports. Okay. Gang stalking is not a local police crime. This is a federal thing. Gang stalking is the culmination of a bunch of crimes. Gang stalking is a little deeper than organized crime. There needs to be a system in place for gang stalking to exist. We're talking about tapping phones at the company level. We're talking about impeding mail. We're talking about entering in people's homes, getting keys to people's homes. We're talking about hacking people's networks. This is federal. That's the jurisdiction. Of course, you should start with local reports and stuff like that. And you're reporting, sorry, crimes that are crimes, okay? Difficult to really, the police to do much about people bullying you, people gaslighting you, people leaving bad Google reviews. That one is a harder thing to do, only because it's more difficult for, like, to prove that it's coordinated. So this is where they're very careful about, like, striking you but hiding their hands. So you have to be, there are very specific things that you want to report. So I might have to do a whole other video, and I'm gonna put a note here. I'm gonna have to do a whole other video about considerations for police reports, because this is one thing where I could see how reports would kind of like not go very far. So maybe I'm gonna do a live about just police reports, how you wanna make a police report, or an effective police report. So I would start locally. You're gonna be prepared to make multiple reports. Every time you make a report, though you might not see movement on the report, though you might say to yourself, well, these people have connections and these people have, you know, people in and whatever. Think about you being a criminal. No matter what connections you have, you really want there to be reports on your name. It costs money to bribe police. Even if it costs money to tuck things away. So every report costs money. Every report has an effect. When I made my first report in January of 2023, I think it was like January 8th. By February 23rd, John Ferrer had to shut down his shop. Why? Because regardless of what money you paid or what happened, you think you could sleep properly knowing that the federal police have that level of report with name, place, address, phone number, what you're into, quoting these kind of things, the pictures of people. Come on. And when the report is sent digitally, there's a digital trail. So it's one thing deleting the report, but there's a digital trail. So I'm gonna have to do a live about reports. This goes without saying. Doesn't matter what protections, what ties, whatever. Common sense must always be used. It's like, even though I might have connections somewhere, I don't want to see my name in the newspaper. I don't want a police report. I don't want these people coming and sniffing around. I just don't want it. And as the reports keep coming, your police connections are going to come and say, hey, do something about this situation. Like, I can't keep putting myself in this situation. This is my job. This is my reputation. This is my career. This is how you keep pushing them and pushing them and pushing them and pushing them and pushing them back. Nothing is useless. Nothing is for no reason. When you do your first round of marketing, there's no effect. But as you make the marketing your habit and you keep pushing things into the environment, pushing things out there, eventually you notice some traction. A little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. As you keep working out, 1 workout, 2 workouts, 3, 5 does nothing. The 30th, the 40th, the 50th, the 100th workout, you're like, oh, wow, I see a change. I feel better. I'm lighter. As a matter of fact, by the 100th, I'd say you look a little bit different. This is how it works. Depending on just one report alone may not work in a system where these people have money. As you remain in the system and people become exhausted of you, exhausted of trying to break you, exhausted of spiritually sending spell work, exhausted resource-wise, money. The chief person might be a person who wants to go to the end, but the rest of the team are normal people. normal people. These were people who were convinced to join gang stalking because they're already lazy and don't believe in themselves. Gang stalking in and of itself, I don't believe makes people rich, not these gang stalkers on the streets. Maybe a chief gang stalker might get some good coin in their pocket, but the regular gang stalkers on the street, that's like pocket money. So people that would do something like this for pocket money do not have the same mentality as somebody. They need to be constantly convinced, we got to do this, you ever have a team of lazy people? Every day it's taking energy to keep telling people, you got to go, we got to keep going. That alone takes energy out of you. It's like it's easier to move by yourself than to constantly be convincing people of the merit of the project. That's why I talk about when you work with God and you work with spirit, how spirit values the fact that yes, you may come complaining, yes, you may come crying, but when you come, you close out every prayer saying, I'm going to continue. This is nothing. Let's keep going. Like, you know, however you word it, the assurance, that's the best part of the prayer for them, that they don't have to every single minute, oh my goodness, oh my, okay, don't worry. I don't think spirit necessarily minds doing that, but I'm saying, think about being on a team and you're losing and you're down. You're in the disadvantage period of your journey. And every member on that team, at the end of every meeting, they're like, let's get to it. All right, so this is what we have. And all the odds are against them. But you're in here talking about solutions, about what ways we're going to do this and how we're going to get around it. That's a different team than these gang stalkers. These people are not like emotionally, like they're not getting 50K from this. Even if somebody might have told them they're getting 50K, they could see the blood in the water that they're not getting it. In my case, I'm doing lives every day. Come on, like I'm exposing the whole thing. They're learning more about it. They're wondering like, what the hell did I participate in here? They're like, oh my God, I'm working with demons. Like people are gonna keep dropping off. So you're enduring to waste people's money, time, effort, motivation, resources, etc. They're already bleeding. It's like a construction job that doesn't want to end. It keeps being delayed. They said we were going to be done in September. Now we're in January. Now we're in August. It's been 3 freaking years. This job cannot get done. What the hell is going on? And now we're adding police reports. The pipe bursts. The foundation is sinking. The roof collapsed. This is what counterattacks do to a job that's being delayed. You got to pour in more money and more money and more and find more people. The workers don't want to come to work. There was a thunderstorm, an earthquake happened. This is where you want to get the job. You're already dragging this thing out. It's not about, listen, if you're going to take me down, we're going to drag this shit out. We're going to drag it out. If you did it in 6 months with me, we're going to still keep going to the end. And both of us got to lose money. Both of us got to lose time. Both of us got to lose energy. Both of us got to lose motivation and faith. I'm going to make it hard, even if it could be done. This is what good lawyers do. They know that their clients is going to lose, but they're going to keep dragging it out in court and extending it and burning up your money if that's what they're going to do. Are you ready to settle it now? Settle it out now? That's what you got. You just got to drag it out with them. Drag it out. Make it hard. Make everything hard. Take away any satisfaction that they're making ground. Take away the satisfaction of a good, hard gang stalking day. We had a good day today. We got her. No, take that away. Laying in bed like, yes, I finally feel good about it. No, no, no. Every day has to be a burden. Every day people have to lose hope. They have to get tired. They have to lose interest in it. That's where you want to get them. The police report throws wrenches in a delayed situation. They are vital, they are important. You cannot go through gang stalking without your police reports. And I don't care how afraid you are to do it. That's why we addressed fear early on. It must be done. My first police report, I was nervous. My dad pushed me to go do the police report. He's like, I know you said you didn't want to go, but you know, maybe you might want to go. That's the first police report. I had to keep going back. I had to be doing my own research, telling them the camera was over here, the time of the camera was on and on and on. You are not getting through gang stalking without your police reports. And that's going to be my next live. I'm going to deep dive into the police reports. You got to get to know your stalker / stalkers. You have to study them like they study you. You got to study them more than they study you. You have to, every bit of information is good information. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it is. You can tie it all together. You got to know their businesses. You got to know what they like. You got to know their triggers. You got to know their objectives. You got to know how much they weigh on the scale. You got to know what type of girls they like. You got to know what kind of drinks they like. You got to be all up in their stuff. I'm all up in your stuff if you stand for me. I'm in everything. I always used to joke around. I'm like, listen, don't put Virgos in your business because they will really get in your business. Know your gang stalker. That's another live right there by itself. You got to know your gang stalker. You have to know everything and you got to document everything. It's down to the fact where, or down to the point where you have to know before you embark on anything. You got to know, okay, I'm going to do this. So the first attack is going to be this. When that doesn't work, they're going to do that. When that doesn't work, they're going to do that. When that doesn't work, they're going to do that. So it's muscle memory for you. It's like watching old football games and you watch the plays. And so you start memorizing, or watching a particular player long enough and you know how they move and you know what they're likely to do. This is a two-way studying operation. This is not one way. So yeah, they're going to know things about you, but hopefully you have something in your chart that makes you mutable, that makes you changeable, that makes you adaptable. I don't know for anybody else, but me, I wake up as a different person on certain days. Like I'm just gonna be walking and all of a sudden I'm gonna pivot and do something else and get like, you just never know. You got to keep your eyes on me is what I'm saying. And I don't mind that at this point. They should be nervous. They know enough at least now to be nervous. They don't know when I'm gonna wake up and be a new person, when I'm gonna wake up and hit them with some curveballs. It is what it is. It's an uncomfortable place to be in. You gotta know your stalker. You gotta know what is their weapon of choice, whether it's V2K, whether it's whatever it is. You gotta know that. And whatever their favorite things to do are, you gotta get over it. My stalker loves spell work. So I gotta be able to withstand spell work. That's their first go-to. They love getting a little kick in. They love getting like going back and forth and tit for tat, and they're very childish and they're very predictable, and there's like all kinds of things when it comes to that. But you gotta know your stalker, because here's the thing about people like gang stalkers. Gang stalkers are usually very childish energies. They are people who are very self-absorbed, and they're people who like recognition. So these kind of energies, these me, look at me, I'm the center of attention type of personalities. Think about like very immature men. These kind of personalities, it's like, these are the easiest kind of personalities to trigger. They're the easiest ones to get to know. But these are also people who refuse to do any shadow work, any inner work. And so it makes them very Because there is no self-mastery, it makes it very difficult for them to change their ways, even if they want to. Now, my gang stalker has been trying to change ways for sure, but easy as this, get them right back to that place. Right back to that place. Easily triggered, easily controlled, easily manipulated. They could try to have a good self day, a good day of like, I'm gonna be the good version of myself. And all you gotta do is something as simple as just being like, I love myself today. They're like, what? They're back to a low vibration. If somebody literally just liking themselves, liking their day, having a good time, shine, like any of that is like triggering to, like, you are so easily controllable. You gotta not be like that. You have to master yourself. But when somebody's starting so far behind, somebody's starting from like the age of 16 or 17, somebody hasn't matured from that level, and they're trying to do some shadow work now, and you're light years ahead of them as far as like where you are, you have nothing to worry about. You're already ahead of this energy. You don't have to work. You can calculate what they're going to do easily. You know guaranteed what they're going to do. You just have to build in counter attacks to block the things that you know they're going to do. It's like you have to be the husband in the situation, and the gang stalker is your wife, because, and I hate, somebody's going to say something about the archetypes that I'm using or the stereotypes that I'm using, and you know what? It is what it is. I welcome it. But it's kind of like being a husband, and your wife, before she says anything, you're like, yes, you look nice. Yes, I mean it. As soon as she starts opening her mouth, you're like, yep, you do look good. No, you don't look fine, or you don't look fat. Yes, I mean it. No, you shouldn't change the outfit. Like, you already have the answers because you know how this is going. You know where this is going. Like, I think you can even find like videos on the internet about it where it's like, you already know where it's going. So me, it's like, I already know where it's going. I already know what they're going to do. I already know what they're going to do. Every day I know what they're going to do. The same thing we did last night, Pinky. Tried to take over the world. It's the same thing. This thing got boring a long time ago. I've been rolling my eyes so long. This is how you have to get to know your stalker. You guys are energetically close. You know what this person is like energetically already. You know what they're likely to do. People who are very envious, people who are very childlike. Look at children, how children behave. It's the same way. Get to know your stalker to make your life easier. Then, from a place of getting to know the stalker, can you plan the rest of the stuff that you need to do? What matters to your stalker? Self-image, power, money. These are the things that you have to think about that are going to hurt them the most. What if my stalker is a sex addict? Well, that would mean that it would really be difficult for them if they couldn't have sex anymore. These are the kind of things that you got to take into consideration when you're building this whole thing together. Now, take what I've given you, really sit down with it, and start paying attention to your surroundings, to things that are happening, and make sure that people are not attacking you in a place of peace. The third one, contact news agencies and investigative reporters. It's not necessarily about if they do anything about it. It's about the paper trail. I've been doing these kind of things for 2 years. Believe me, this entire city knows my story. They know what's going on. Even if they didn't do anything, there's gossip, there's chit chat. This is not just about the Black community or my customers. I was in malls, mall locations, meaning that a large group of people know about this. It opened out the network of people that knew about this. They also did their own work by involving everybody and their grandmother. So they've really opened this story out that even if the newspapers didn't pick it up, even if the news hasn't yet picked it up, the city knows the story. They know what's going on. It's not difficult for anyone to find the story. You have to look at it this way. It's not about the immediate result of anything. When I'm making a report, let's say I'm making a report to a telecommunications company, I'm not contacting the local person at the desk. I'm going all the way to the president's office. So now, how do I know one of these presidents is not sitting at dinner with another president and is like, wait, you got that email too? Wait, it is beyond, it is a mess. It is a mess. This has to be a topic of discussion in my mind very early on. This has to be a topic of discussion in every demographic, in every circle, in every culture. And myself and my gang stalker are holding hands in solidarity. Together, we are spreading the good word of my gang stalking. I introduced the story and they validate it with their actions. We are working on the same thing. You must think strategically about how you get this thing out here. Some of these reports have been digital. Some of these have been mailed out by registered mail. Some of these I've dropped off myself. But it's been going on for a very, very, very long time. And it's been maybe more consistent than they were aware of. Who knows and who gives a shit? The point is, you must continue launching bombs. You ever watch these movies about these freedom fighters? These freedom fighters are fighting a whole system, a whole government. It's like a whole new world that takes advantage of the entire population, and people are living in fear, and 5 of them get away and they're living in little caves and little holes. When they decide to go in that city, they're going in that city and they're bombing the Capitol. They're bombing this building. They're doing this. Now the Capitol has to have a show of force and they take all the helicopters out. You don't think when they dropped that bomb, they knew the Capitol was going to get the helicopters in the sky and they're going to go over there and bomb the caves? What does it show the people that the Capitol got bombed? Like, oh, there are people who are fighting. Oh, there are people who believe this is wrong. Oh, we can do something. 5 people against a whole government and a whole system and a whole army. Some of them might not make it. Some of them, their little cave might go. Some of them know we're getting ready for this attack. We got to move. We got to leave everything. So by the time the military and everything comes in their cave, they find all their little clothes and their empty cans of food on the floor and all this stuff. And these guys are already gone. They're long gone. They bombed it and they're somewhere else. But the fact is, there are people who have the stomach for that kind of action, knowing that there's going to be retribution. And sometimes they may be, with their little hood in the subway station watching the jumbo screen, and one of them got caught. And they got to make an example of that one. But they knew on the way in there that that's what they were going to do. And that's what it was really about. This is kind of like you, only God's not going to let anybody do that to you. I could say that with a good amount of confidence. God's not going to let that happen to you. But I will say this. I am of the mindset that if you are the one that gets caught, you're probably a hero in the hearts and minds of a lot of people. Because it's like somebody had the balls to do what I knew I couldn't do. And there are people in my city who despise me because they put up money against me. And there's other people who are like, I hope she makes it. They need that hope. They need to know that it's possible. And maybe they're not allowed to say it, but they're rooting me on for sure. They're like, oh my God, thank God. And there's nothing that anyone can do about what is going on in people's hearts, because a revolution starts in the hearts and the minds of people. It doesn't start with people being brave enough to go and do all of that. It starts in people's hearts and in people's minds, and they start thinking, well, wait, what if, what about? Do we really need this house? Do we really need these things? Could we figure something else out? How do we get out of this BS? So sometimes you are not going to know the effect that you're having on other people. You're not going to know what it means to other people to see somebody else do something. But it's just going to be a conviction inside of you that you cannot live this way. Like, this is no way. This gang stalking thing, this being under a POS like John Ferreira, like looking up to something like that and being afraid of something, it's just like, it's not going to happen. That is not in my system. It is not possible. No way, no way, no way. I can't see it. It's just, no, 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 no. It took a while. It took a while to, first of all, like, let's be honest. I told that man to leave me alone, and the minute I saw he was really passing his place, I had already started engaging him head to head. Like, because that's just my energy. I very much have like that bullheaded, aggressive. They used to call me a bull in the china shop. They used to say that I was too aggressive with certain things, and that I should tame myself. And like, certain people had a way of telling me certain things without fully explaining to me what it meant. And then I got older, I was like, oh, that's what they meant. But I was going toe to toe with this energy, and I didn't really care. As far as like the example I gave of like running back to your cave and knowing that they're coming in, that was what used to make me nervous. But I was still gonna go and drop a bomb anyway, and scurry back and hide for cover. And I'm like, shit, here they come, and brace myself, because I know after the day of that report, the spell work's coming down. The gang stalking is gonna be extra. The girls are gonna come to the store and say some extra nasty things to me. Like, I know it, it's coming. So it's just like bracing myself. But I also know he was scared. I also know that he felt that one. Oh, he read that 19-page report and he felt that one. He saw his whole life flash before him. He saw CNN. He saw BBC. He saw all of it. He saw World Nightly News. He saw it. He saw it. He saw it. It played out. This report was disgusting. This report, I'm going to teach you guys how to write a report. This report was a book report. This is a professional written report. I should have put a table of contents. Page 1. Like, this was written like their methods, their tactics, their objectives. I'm sure the police reading this shit, this was the police reading this in my house. And when he got low enough, I just snatched it out of his hands. I'm like, anyway, you're reading too much of my report. These people started wearing crystals. People started seeing their life unraveling early. So he had to go strap that entity to him, because this is not supposed to go that way. This is one girl with no family, with 2 kids, and this is not supposed to go that way. We took away all her friends. What is going on here? Why is this working like that? A revolution does not need a bunch of people. Your personal revolution, breaking out, does not need a whole bunch of people. It just needs a particular mindset. It's the mind, the determination, the heart, the will. You watch movies like this. That one lone person who says no, who keeps going, who keeps pushing. That is the point. That's what you're here for. That is how it works. That is the point. Not just being gang stalked to just eat bullets. Strategy. What are we doing here? Is there a goal? Is there a game plan? Because we're not going to stand in the same place forever. This thing needs to keep evolving. This thing needs to keep growing. It needs to keep moving somewhere. It's not going to stay the same place. Number 4, track their businesses and movements, both online, in person, covertly. You know, they don't know this stuff is going on. They can't, these are the things they can't tell, whether they have you hacked or not. They can't tell. They can't tell why you went to that store, why you did this, why you talked to this person, what happened. They don't know. They think you're the dumb one. They think that, oh, she doesn't even know that's a gang stalker, or she doesn't even know this person. I walk into stores of people that I know are helping to push me out of the mall. What am I there for? They're not brave enough to walk into my store. I could do it to them. You just got to keep track, look at, observe, absorb information, always be on the pulse, always know, at least be aware. Their businesses, not just them. Whatever they have their hand in that's public enough that you can know. All information is good information, because whatever you cannot handle physically, you can handle through prayer. You can give things to God. You can get insight from your ancestors. You don't have to physically go places yourself. You can send your ancestors to certain places. You can send your ancestors to certain places. And when you pray, you know, anyways, I'm not going to go into that. Guaranteed these people are breaking laws. Guaranteed they owe taxes. Guaranteed they have tax issues. Guaranteed these are criminals. Guaranteed stuff is sketchy. They make their money through gang stalking. They do not make their money with whatever they're telling the government. So start on those reports ASAP. Let me tell you something. If the police doesn't handle a concern, the government wants their money. If the government feels like there's more, if nobody else takes you seriously, the tax department takes it seriously. And that's how I'm going to leave it. And it is what it is. They can't come and beat me for that. They could just be mad and gang stalk me some more the next time I leave the house. 6, fight back against chaos calmly and professionally. This is what narcissists do, okay? Narcissists provoke you, they do things to you, and then while there's a crowd, they're like, please stop. I don't want any trouble. Please, I want peace. The real bad narcissist will be like, I love you. You're my sister. Please, let's be loving. And when everybody turns their back, they're like, that's how you have to be with them. That's how you have to be with them. You can't fight all these people every day. You're going to drain your energy. You're going to drain your energy. You got to let so much go. Does it piss you off? Does it boil your blood? Sure. Go home and meditate and breathe it out and start a new day. When people come with the chaos, you know what their angle is. So you got to be like, hi, I've made this report. I've done this, and I would really like and I appreciate for you to do this and that. And that's your warning shot. Now, people know me enough now to know when I start getting super calm that there might be a couple more bullets in that gun. Right? Because after that, it's like, oh, I already had them loaded. It's like now it starts coming like rapid fire, rapid fire, rapid fire, rapid fire, rapid fire. So if I can't get the chief gang stalker, I'm going to get the person he hired. Oh, you don't like that job. Oh, you don't like your reputation. Oh, you don't like your business. Okay, well, let me start putting some fire under your ass. Either you are gonna stop, drop and roll, because I'm gonna set your ass on fire, and you're definitely going to put it out there to other people like, don't even get involved in that one. Calmly and professionally. You're not just every single thing you're reporting, there's particular situations where people should not be crossing the line, and it builds a paper trail. These complaints, there's a paper trail of things people said, things they did. First of all, do not take any conversations on people's private cell phones. I call you at your job and you want to call me on your cell phone, it's unprofessional. But anyways, I'm going to screenshot your phone number and I will keep that in my pocket. You could explain to your boss what you wanted to talk to me about on your private number. Let's talk on the company recorded line. Let's talk on the company email, paper trail. do things the correct way. Make sure that you are also doing things professionally in the correct way as well, because people keep passing their place. And when you get to the very bitter end, you can start compiling paper trails of all the different ways. You know, there's only a certain point where somebody's like, listen, all of this cannot be isolated. This is a lot of all of this coming from. So you got to keep it that way. You got to keep building a case, documenting, making sure you handle things professionally, not freaking out, not making an ass of yourself, not having people look at you like everywhere you went, you were screaming, no, but you did things professionally, you documented things, you had things written out, you explained yourself, etc. Most people are intelligent enough to do that. Some people you must set an example of, and the example is not going to be a regular example. It's going to be a very severe example. You're going to make a severe example of the people who crossed the line. Once you have the ammunition that you need, you make a complete example. Names, faces, identifying information. Take their mask off publicly, whatever way you got to make the example. When the light comes, people scatter. Believe me, in my city, I don't think anybody's really interested in touching me with a 10-foot pole. If they do, they have to. They don't really want to do this. They have to do a lot of pretending, a lot of blah, 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 blah. Because if I hold one of them, if I catch one of them, it's problematic. I don't care how many examples I have to like keep setting, because these are energies. You have to understand, gang stalkers are energies that don't want to learn. They don't care about learning. So these people, you gotta set maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 a year, 2 years of examples before they really get the point. It's so hard to get their attention. They're unfocused and they're in a group, and as a group, they're idiotic. So make sure the example you set is a merciless example. It's like you almost have to hold one and chop its head off right in front of the rest of them and toss the body back, because they don't understand. Leave me alone, they don't understand. Stop doing this, they don't understand. Stop coming in my energy, they don't understand. They don't want to understand. They will abuse you. This is their job. This is literally what they're being paid for, is to abuse you. How long are you going to put up with that? That's how you have to look at it. So if you're in the beginning of this journey, somewhere close to the beginning, whatever, the middle, and you haven't been setting examples, of course they're going to pass their place one at a time, you know, and as close to the top as possible. Me personally, I like setting examples of whatever is at the top, the head. Because you see all these wasting time on all the little ones scurrying around. That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. I just held on to that top one. Every time somebody down here did something to me, that one has to pay for it. That's how it goes for me. Because I understand that you chop the tail of a snake, it's going to keep growing back. You chop the head, what is it going to do? So that's just for me. I know who my chief gang stalker is. Like, you know, for me, that's something early on I was very interested in. So it's, they felt that, they always feel like with me, like I'm playing along. Well, they started picking up that I was playing along after a while, but it's like, they feel that you're playing along, and it's like to their benefit. It's not to your benefit when anybody plays along with you. You got to think about that. Why is a person playing along with you? When has that ever been safe? Somebody knows what you're up to and you think, come on now. But anyways, you know, contact the city, the mayor's office, politicians, whatever. Write down your plan and launch this attack. Either it's going to be Spitfire, meaning one after the other, after the other, after the other, where people are panicking because they can't even handle the first one. You do another one and another one, or do it all at once. But don't Use strategy. Whatever way you want to do it, use strategy. The more you plan, the bulk of your time is always in planning. The bulk of your time is not, you do not want to react. Reactive is how people got themselves in the situation with me that they did. Spend the bulk of your time planning. Even though people think they're getting away with gang stalking you up and down the street and ha ha ha, we have you caught up in whatever. The worst thing is to think you have something in the bag for a whole year, and then all of a sudden, right at the end, somebody starts hitting your ass, hitting your ass, hitting your ass, hitting your ass. You're like, whoa, whoa, what is going on here? Money's done. We're down manpower. We're down all of this. We can't get people to work on this. And now this person starts hitting you, hitting you, hitting you, hitting you, hitting you. Plan. 80-90% of your time is going to be planning, so execution is smooth. This is where you want to get yourself. Contact forensic companies to address hacking, to prove that hacking is happening. This may or may not work for everybody. I did this early in the process. I never ended up going fully through with it. That was God's plan, but that is something that you can do yourself personally. And if you have homeowner's insurance, it will address cyber attacks. So that is something to take into consideration. You want to access the heads of company, the president's offices with complaints, because these are the people that actually give a shit. The managers, the supervisors, the blah, blah, blahs and blah, blah, blahs, they don't give a shit. The president cares about the reputation of the company. That's it. You put a Google review and you write the name, Google the name of the company and write the name of the president in the Google review. You will be shocked that he has a Google alert on his own name. And when it comes up, they're going to contact you from the president's office and they're going to find out what this issue is. And they don't care to give you a couple dollars to get rid of that problem, because it is worth it to get rid of the scandal. Make sure complaints are very detailed. Make sure the complaints are very, they're solid. Try to always have as much proof as possible. Don't just complain about foolishness. You ever go on Google, read reviews, and most of these reviews are frivolous and nonsense. Even you as a reader, you're not convinced to not go with this company because somebody, I read some review some moron wrote, and she was talking about the owner said they open at 9:30. And she wrote 5 paragraphs just to get down to be like, I went outside and saw the sign 9:30. Okay, my bad, but they could have been nicer. Girl, shut the hell up. You entered too early. They were annoyed. They told you to get out. I'm still going to go buy from them. What the hell does that have to do with anything? Be respectful. And as a normal human being, you could have just said, hey, my bad, I'm sorry, and got the hell out. And if you said, hey, I'm sorry, you know, like, these are people are human beings too. So it's like, just make sure you're not making frivolous complaints. Make sure you're not just sitting here thinking everything is gang stalking, because it is not. Make sure that it's a real issue. Make logical complaints, because when you make stupid complaints, it also hurts your credibility. So sometimes you might have to leave things alone that may be something but not provable. Like, you know, don't be an idiot either. You know, use common sense. Make extremely long passwords, like 20-30 characters long, because they'll take a long time to hack. Not just letters, but all kinds of characters too. It'll just be easier to hack you at the internet level than to hack those passwords. Be extremely uncontrollable and chaotic. Like, chaotic. Like, I used to be like driving to work as normal, and then I just hit a turn on the highway and go somewhere completely different. I go make a report. They didn't plan for that. There was not enough people in place for that. You can feel somebody having anxiety. You can feel the anxiety from that move you made. Their hands are shaking. They don't know what to do. People are not gang stalked like that. Gang stalking victims are supposed to be scared. They're supposed to be like, oh my God, the gang stalkers. Da, da, da. They're not supposed to be like they're using strategy against you, like they're moving around like some secret agent, like they're what kind of nightmare is that? How can a gang stalker gang stalk in peace When this B won't even go to work some days, she won't even do what she's supposed to. She's talking everywhere. She's making report. How is a gang stalker supposed to gang stalk? That's the point. That is the point. And your motto is gang stalker is lose money. I'm going to make it into a t-shirt. Y'all better not steal my idea because I'm going to sue you. Gang stalker is lose peace of mind and money. Be chaotic. Talk back, be freaking rude, you know, not publicly, not now. I do that now. Now I do that. I wasn't doing that in the middle of my journey. You'll know, you'll feel it. You'll know when you're in a safe zone. You'll know. These people know what they're doing. Who cares what they're talking? Who cares what they're talking about? Who cares? So, uncontrollable. I don't listen to nothing. If somebody advises me to do something, I do the opposite of it. If somebody makes a suggestion, I go against it. I investigate things in their face. I call them out. I call them liars. I have just never been controllable. I'm a nightmare to deal with. It's like, I wouldn't want to gang stalk me. I wouldn't. I'm a nightmare. It is what it is. So you have to be extremely chaotic. You have to be the person that people are really thinking twice, like, okay, we're gonna make this move. What can she do if we do this? If you so much as delete one of my videos, I'm going back to the police. Like, anything that makes me feel like you violated me too far, I'm snapping. The next time I leave the house, the phone call, you're panicked because you just don't know what I'm capable of. I'm capable of everything. That's the bottom line. A person needs to draw a flow chart from whatever their plan is all the way to like, what could you possibly do? Don't let them get away with anything that crosses a hard boundary. If it pisses me off, listen, it's so bad that when I start getting pissed off over things, they start trying to make calm music play on my computer. They start trying to do all of these to calm me down. Like, there's no calming me down. There's no calming me down. I'm going to start doing things. It's hacked. I'm going to make reports. I'm going to send emails. I'm going to start doing, I'm going to start going crazy until I get it all out of my system. I've done enough damage that I feel good. I'm gonna go back to my day, and I think the two of us understand you're not gonna effing do that again. Right? Sit people down with that nonsense. You guys keep putting up with a lot of BS. It's not funny, haha. Every day is not funny. 14, early on. Be a random nuisance who randomly does anxiety-raising things. I think I already talked about that. Deviate from routines. Don't plan, just do. How did that work for me? I told you guys, I had a piece of paper with 100 things on it. It doesn't take a lot of planning when I already know all the things that I want to do to you anyway. I look at the list and I'm like, okay, well, I'll do this one today. That's it. So I follow my routine. I go get my coffee. I get in my car on my way to work, whatever. They're following me. I'm driving comfortable at a comfortable place. Boom. Federal police office. Printed off report. They don't follow you to the police. They're scared to go in that general area. They're not going to go down that road. Melissa, the so-called wife of John Ferreira, when I made my first federal report, had the audacity to drive down the road mean mugging me. B, you're going to be in jail, if not something else. What do you mean mean mugging me on the road? For what? The report's already been made. It's already been made. What are these people talking about? They could do whatever they want to do. Gang stalking. What was she driving? A Corolla or whatever. Where's your Rolls Royce? Where's your Rolls Royce? Where's your gang stalking money? Where is it? What are these people doing this stuff for? Be very serious right now. Be a random nuisance. Cause issues to their heart function, their heart palpitations. The most they could do is be mad. That's it, by themselves, on their own time. On their own time, in their own space. That is all. That's it. That's all. Work hard, look good, be happy as the revenge. If you don't naturally want to do this, if this does not feel natural to you, do it out of spite. That is it, and that is all. Do it out of spite. Be happy with your life out of spite. Give me a second. Be happy out of spite. These are the things that they are paid to stop you from doing. They want to stop you from working hard or getting anything done. It's like going to a workplace where nobody likes you. You're going to keep going. If they illegally fire you, they have an issue. Keep going. On purpose. That's the thing about me. I'm annoying. If I know everybody doesn't like me, I'm definitely going to be extra comfortable. They're going to have to roll their eyes. That's where people are, thank you, are rolling their eyes. They're causing commotion. They want you to be extra mad, extra triggered. Who the hell told these people that they matter in the first place? Who told these people that they matter? That them being mad makes a difference somehow? Who cares? Don't assign people too much importance. Don't give people too much like, oh my God, if I'm laughing at her and if I'm mad at him and whatever, like they have all this, their street credibility is that they're some mafioso, there's some this, there's some that. Ugh, whatever. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? End of the day, who cares? I would go to a job where everybody doesn't like me or who's been turned against me, and I'm gonna strut as I walk in. You know, people at a corporate job that swing in the chair in a certain way, like, that's how I'd be swinging in the chair. Like, I wouldn't care. I'd be talking like this. These kind of things make people sick. They cannot stand you when you behave like that. But it is what it is. What are you going to do? You're going to stop living your life, loving your life, having hope in your life, in humanity, because some losing bum wants to make you feel like you're nothing? The attitude matters. The mind matters. All these are the things that matter. And put all their names in a report with the pictures. With the pictures. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. You cannot be gang stalked without throwing back any bombs. You are wasting your time and you're letting people get leg room. You're letting them get distance in on you. You need to close the gap. I talked about this. Be disrespectful. Their job is to make you afraid of them. They're used to people being afraid of them. Be disrespectful. It's a very important part of what has to happen here. Whether you're losing or not, however it goes, you got to be disrespectful. It's a show of strength. It's a show of strength. It's not about always what you say. It's about how you say it. It's about how you say it. Be forceful, be aggressive, be defensive, go on the offense. This is what I'm talking about here. Offensive action. So don't just say things. I'm not saying be belligerent. I'm not saying call people every name in the book and this and that. I'm saying put people in their place. Put people in their place. Never be influenced. If they can't outright control you, they'll influence you through friends, through people, through advice, through posts that comes up on your timeline, through ads that come up on your timeline. No influence. Everything comes from yourself. Even what I'm giving you, you got to run it through your inner system. You got to run it through your gut. Does it work for you? Does it not work for you? You got to make all decisions yourself. I'm just giving you things to think about. Show no weakness, no matter what you feel. Show no weakness. Be strong in the way that you do things. Build a strong defense. And eventually you will evolve into the person that you project yourself out to be. Eventually you will become that, because you start off as a victim. You start off weak. And eventually you become the person who says, no, we're gonna duke this out. We are going to fight for my life tooth and nail. Since you wanted to make it a competition for my own life, we're gonna fight it out, we're gonna duke it out tooth and nail. But I'm not gonna be the only person losing things. We all gotta lose things. If we're gonna lose things, weaken it. Weaken your enemy, weaken them. Adjust to issues immediately. You have a one strike policy for chaos. Never let a trick work twice, and exhaust all new ideas. I've talked about that. Somebody wants to gang stalk you, you gotta make sure that they do real work. They gotta come with a plethora of ideas. They gotta keep strategizing, keep maneuvering, keep pivoting, and they gotta know that this idea is gonna work one time. And this girl's gonna alchemize it, she's gonna suck it in, she's gonna learn it, she's gonna drain it. And you know what's even worse? If you start using their ideas on them, I'm sure these people are gonna, listen, I'm just saying, sit down and really scheme and plot, because this is your life. We're talking about they want you homeless, helpless, losing your mind, losing everything, no family, etc. These don't sound like crazy things to you? Come on now. Waste people's time when the answer you already know is no. Dance and delay. You don't know the amount of times I already know I'm gonna pull out on people abruptly. I'm gonna dance with it. Please send me the contract. What day do you think? Do you accept checks? Do you accept cash? How much is it again? You said 1,800? Dance and dance and dance and drag it out and drag it out and drag it out, and then just drop their ass last minute. Isn't that what they do with betrayals with you? They make people come in, or maybe it's somebody you already like, develop the relationship, develop the rapport, make the person start gaslighting you, and then make that, it has to be the big fall. It's not right away. They gotta build you up to drop you down. It's not right away. Make them think you're gonna go along with the plan. So the person comes to you, they're telling you the story, they're telling you about this nice business loan, they're telling you how amazing this loan is, we're gonna get you approved, don't worry, it's gonna be so easy. You're asking them, well, how can I pay? Do you take checks? Da 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 da. Chief gang stalkers at home like, yes, finally. He's telling everybody, don't worry, we got her here. And then last minute you're like, yeah, I don't think I want it anymore. That's the type of energy that I'm talking about, embodying. Take your time and don't rush in any decisions. They know, people, they're gonna get the idea eventually that you're playing with them, and they're not gonna like it. See, it's not fun. It's not fun when the rabbit has the gun. They're not gonna appreciate the fact that they know that they're not gonna have hope in any of the plans anymore. Their hope is lost. Like, they're like, they know how it's gonna go down with you. You gotta take your time, trust your intuition, be careful, watch the way you move, watch how you talk, watch who you tell things. And when they come asking you questions, just give them all kinds of stories, all kinds of answers. Just say all kinds of nonsense to these people. Who cares if you're lying? Who cares if you're lying? You're lying to liars. Who cares? Give them all kinds of stories, paint all kinds of pictures. That's what they're doing to you. They take everything for a joke. You take everything for a joke. Who cares? Move on with your day. Make people want to decline risking working against you. Have a big mouth. Tell everyone you meet, make them panic. A lot of money has been extended in gang stalking people that were never in the budget because I just kept talking about it. Oh, they're gonna have to gang stalk that person now. Oh, they're gonna have to take that person down now. Oh, that's another one. How many is that? 25 for the month. My. That's extra people. That's taking out that gang stalking budget. That budget is getting stretched. Have a big mouth. Everywhere you go to the bakery, you go to the laundromat, you go to the school, everywhere you go, tell another person about the gang stalkers. Oh boy, we gotta go cover that up. Oh boy, we gotta go cover that up. Oh boy, we gotta go cover that up. Now the whole city's getting gang stalked. This was not in the budget. Oh well, they're trying to drain your money. Counter attacks are creative. And I'm a person who is a fountain of new ideas. Be weird and mysterious, be odd and hard to categorize, and fit no stereotype, at least not too long. I'm weird. They tell people that I'm weird. She's weird. Why does she talk like that? Why does she do this? Why does she do that? They don't even know what type of person to bring towards me. It's like, what brackets do I really fit in? Now, if I really fit into one demographic, it'd be like, okay, she's a ghetto black girl. Just bring these types of people, invite her on a trip to Miami. We're good to go. They don't know where to start. They don't know how it's gonna work. They're not quite sure. And I don't think at this point anybody really wants to sign up for this, because I'm gonna be screaming your name at the top of the roof with a loudspeaker. Sarah Johnson, who lives at 123 Lane, phone number blah blah blah, is a gang stalker. Who the hell needs that kind of crap in their life over the $50 and the crunched up pack of cigarettes that these people can afford to pay? And I don't think they really paid anybody. Maybe some people got some money early on, I don't know, but the spiritualists, they got money. But it's like, they promise people money and they know it's not gonna work, but they gotta try, because desperate times have been calling for desperate measures for a long time. 3, make liars out of them publicly. They've been telling people I was going broke for a long time. She's gonna go broke. She's broke. She can't handle it. She doesn't. Well, she's renovating a big store. Well, she's doing this. Well, this is happening. Well, that is happening. They're liars. Or maybe at the time they thought they weren't liars. Maybe it was true at the time they said it. But it's important to take away public trust, respect, and credibility. It's hard to sign up with people when it's a long string of people saying that you don't pay people that work with you. You're unreliable and you're a liar. That is important. And 24, go overboard when it's your turn. When it's your turn, if something only needed, let's say we could like measure blows. So let's say a blow only needed to measure like 5 on the scale to be effective. Break the scale. If the scale goes up to 10, break the scale with the force of how overboard you're gonna go. Not a little bit, do more than necessary. And you're gonna say, why? You said to be balanced and walk the middle ground. Because you need to set an example, an unusual example. That's why. And maybe that's like in math or in English where there's an exception to, that's an exception to the rule. You've absorbed a lot of crap. When it's your turn, take it to the moon, take it to the stars, take it to the sun, go past that level, go overboard, do it in a big way. That's one of the oracle cards says that. Do it in a big way. Don't let anybody pass their goddamn place with you ever again in this lifetime or the next or the one after that. No more. Slam your foot down and make a big problem. You're like, but it's a group of people. It'll take a while. It'll come. So these are my spirit message cards. These are messages from spirit. Message: don't place limits upon yourself. You're an infinite being with unlimited potential. You can have and be anything you want. Don't hold yourself back or allow anybody else to. This is your life. Live your truth and remain heart-centered at all times. And to add to that, I'm gonna say, never let the odds affect you, whether they are in your favor or not. All it takes is time. Never let the odds be against you. You will be your own bully In your story, you'll be both the bully and the hero. You want to play all parts. You want to be the antagonist and the protagonist. When you have this sort of enemy against you, you have no choice. You will feel more empowered being in control as you set more fires around them in their camps rather than always being in your camp, hiding out and doing all of that. You think people are just gonna come and bully you and do all of this stuff and then go back to their camp and sleep happily, ha ha ha, drinking liquor, getting drunk and doing all of that? They're gonna wake up to everything up in smokes at 3 a.m., not in the morning, at 3 a.m. You have to be the type of energy that says to yourself, I could drive this car, metaphorically speaking, I could drive this car through the front of the building right now, but I'd rather wait 8 p.m. when they're sitting down for dinner, when the food's done. When I look through the window and I see them carry the plate, the last person's bowl, and they hold hands for prayers before they take the first bite, that's when I drive the car through. They gotta be like, oh my God, and slam the table. You're not gonna eat dinner. They have to slap that bowl of soup off the table before they eat it. That's when you wait. Or you're gonna do it when they sit down by the fireplace with the cigar about to light it, slam that through the door. Or you wait till the last light goes out. You wait an hour so they're in the certain phase of sleep. They're really in their sleep and they just hear something blow up downstairs. That's when you drive the car through the house. Why do it at 3 p.m. when everybody's like, why? Wait, plan it. Take your time. That's what they do with you. Be irritating on purpose. I promise you, somebody has it written down somewhere, all the places that you go. When you start turning off your cell phone and you are not and they don't know where to go and they can't follow you and stuff, they have it written down. You go to these 10 places and they're spreading people out and just waiting on you. So you think that they're not strategizing? Come on. Come on. Launch counterattacks, okay? Don't just sit there. Don't just sit there and put up with nonsense. Okay, so I'm gonna read just this one. A couple more came out, but this one is relevant to what we're talking about. This is the last one. When a door doesn't open, don't waste your energy trying to make it open. It's closed for a reason. You are being redirected to something far bigger and better. Endings are part of the cycle of life. They make way for wonderful new beginnings and opportunities. I'm gonna tie this into relationships that fail, people that betray you, people that are family, friends, and whatever, and they betray you. Let it go. That's not real people. You deserve better than that. Those are not people that love and respect you. And I know it's difficult to accept right away in the beginning, but you really need people that are going to fight with you. You're going to need people that are going to be 100% solid. And anybody who's not, that is just like a hole in the boat. Anybody who cannot go through hardship, it's like that's why God doesn't bother bringing everybody in, because most people will run at the first sign of problems, of trouble. You want to work with people who know how to stay in a fire as a team, as a group. And if that means getting rid of everybody, oh well, and now you can make better decisions. The next time, you form alliances with people when you get your new life and this is all over, because you will. It is a process that you're going to get through. You will. And it doesn't matter how long it takes, but you will. This is your life. People are not going to keep dealing with somebody who behaves like you. They're going to try to get out. They're going to get bored with this. They're going to get annoyed with this. Eventually, they're going to try to wiggle out of it. It's annoying. They want easy targets. People are going to be scared. They don't want to work with people like you. So you will, and when you get your new beginning, the first time you have a friend and you see some hateful, jealous behavior, get rid of it. Cut the cancer out. Stop letting them proliferate in your life. You deserve better than that. When you fight your way out of this, you get your way out of this, you make better decisions. And that's not just to you, that is to myself, that is to anybody listening. We are all guilty of that. Because how the hell did they get your family to go against you? These are obviously not good people. These are people that already had an issue with you. They just now got an opportunity to do something about it. Make better decisions, take care of yourself, work out, eat healthy, continue to manage your appearance, make the bed in the morning, brush your teeth twice a day, keep yourself safe. I have tons of resources on my channel. Please like the video if you found anything helpful about it. Leave comments, subscribe, share, anything you could do to get the word going so that other people can get information. We are not here to complain about gang stalking every day. We're here to look for solutions and stay extremely focused on walking out. Not with a feeling of dread in your heart every day, not with a feeling every day of, oh my God, how did I get in? This is weakness. You're here to be strong. You're here to change. You're here to ascend. And you can do all of that with God by your side. You will be protected. You will be guided through. So take a look at my other videos. I've organized a lot of videos in playlists, and I'll be back every day to give encouragement and meaningful advice. And thank you for anybody that hung in there. Have an amazing day, guys. Good night. And thank you to Visual Eyes. Have a good day.